Welcome to another video of Code with Vinay. In this video, I'll be walking you through the even number problem which was asked in ISC 2016 specimen question paper. And though it's a relatively simple problem, we'll try to make it even more simpler by using a relatively unknown library method. So let's begin. So according to the question, an even number is defined as a number which has an even number of ones in its binary equivalent. For example, 9 is 1001 and the number of ones are 2, which is even, and hence 9 is an even number. And then it says that, okay, the first few even numbers are 3, 5, 6 and 9. The question then asks you to enter a positive whole number, find the binary equivalent, count the number of ones, and then decide whether or not the given number is an even number. An important part of this question is that we have to convert a decimal number into binary, and let's have a quick recap of how we do that. I know that you already know it because this is there in the theory portion, but still. So we'll start with an example. Let's say the number is 34. So we'll repeatedly divide this number by 2, and then we'll take the remainder in the reverse order. Like say for example in this case, 2 into 17 is 34, remainder is 0, and then we'll divide it again. 2 into 8 is 16, the remainder is 1. Then 2 into 4 is 8, remainder is 0. Then 2 into 2 is 4, remainder is again 0. 2 into 1 is 2, the remainder is 0. And then finally once more we'll divide, and then this time 2 into 0 is 0, and the last remainder is 1. Now we'll take all these remainders in the reverse order, that is 1 0 0 0 1 0, and that will be our final answer. So this is how we convert a number into binary. We repeatedly divide it by 2 till the number becomes 0, and then we take the the remainders in the reverse order. So let us begin with the walkthrough. The first step is we need a file. So we'll go over here, we'll say ISC 2016 question 1 specimen paper.java. So this class will contain our main method, that is our driver method. So we'll have our main first. Now as usual, we have to enter from the keyboard, so we'll import the util package, import java.util.asterisk. And this will be followed by creating the scanner object so that we can get the input from the keyboard. So we'll say scanner in is equal to new scanner system.in, and then since system.in, or rather the object in, will take some resources which must be released towards the end, so we'll say in.close to release those resources and close the object. And then we'll prompt the user to enter the input. So we'll say system.out.print, and the input was relatively simple. We just have to say input colon and then that followed by the input. So there is a tab in after the prompt, so we'll enter the prompt. We'll say over here input, and then let's say we'll say 3/t's. We might modify this in future if it doesn't aligns properly. So the message is there. After the message, we have to define a variable intn is equal to in.next int. So this takes care of the main input. After the input is taken, again we won't be like all the other programs in this channel. Whenever we have a walkthrough, we don't write a one big main method with everything inside. What we'll do is we write a proper object-oriented program and split the individual task in different methods. So this is what we are going to do. So let's say we'll be going to create a class called number. We'll create an object. We'll say number obj is equal to new number, and then within the constructor we'll pass the value which we have got as an input from the user. Once that is done, we'll just call the obj.display method, which will display the output in the required format, that is the binary equivalent, the number of ones, and finally the result whether or not it's an even number. So this we'll be doing throughout the course of this video. So this is our driver method, and let's proceed now to the actual thing. So we need to have a class by the name of number, and this class will encapsulate a few things. The most important one is the number itself. So we'll say private int number, then we'll say private string binary, that is we'll hold the binary equivalent in a variable by the name of binary, and then we have to count the number of ones, so we'll take one more variable, we'll call it ones, and as usual this should also be private. The idea is that data is the most important thing in a program and it has to be protected, so that's why we are making it private, so that it cannot be modified by anyone outside the class. And notice our driver method is in a separate class which is outside the class number. So this is the proper object oriented way of doing things. Okay, now let us start with the actual code. So we come over here, we'll create our constructor for number, and then we'll accept the argument which was passed through the main. Now this argument which has been passed, we want to store it inside our class, so we'll say that okay, this dot number is equal to number. So what this line will do is that whatever is passed as an argument, that is this number, will be stored inside the instance variable number. So in order to reference the instance variable, we'll say this dot number is equal to number. Once that is done, we'll have to convert this into binary, and for that we'll make a method. So let's say the name of a method will be toBinary string, and then we'll pass the number which we have got, that is simply number. So we have to convert our number into binary, that is our first step. Let's say our number is converted into binary. Once that is done, what we have to do, we have to count the number of ones. So initially we'll say that okay, our counter variable ones equal to 0. Then we'll run a loop to extract each and every character of the binary equivalent. So we'll say I is equal to 0, I is less than binary dot length, and then we'll say that okay, I plus plus, and then we'll extract digits one by one. To extract the digit, we'll simply say binary dot char at I. This will extract the ith character, and then we have to check whether this is equal to 1 or not. Remember, this is a string variable, we are taking out a character, hence the 1 is enclosed in a single quote. So if this extracted character is equal to 1, we'll increase our counter by 1. So that is how it goes, and that completes the constructor part. Now the missing link is the toBinary string method. So let's proceed on to create a toBinary string method. So public static toBinary string, and then we'll accept our number, let's say int number. And here also we need one variable to store the output, so we'll say string, what to call it, result, because it is storing the result. Initial value is nothing, and then like we already discussed, we have to start with the number, keep on dividing it by 2 till the number is more than 0. So let's translate this into the loop. We'll start with a temporary variable which will be equal to the number. We'll run the loop till the number is more than 0, and every time after the body is complete, we'll say temp divided by is equal to 2, so that it gets divided by 2. And then what we need to do is we need to take the remainder, that is temp modulus 2, and that remainder we have to add to the result, and we have to reverse it also. So normally when we have to add, we say result is equal to result plus, but here we'll say result is equal to the remainder plus the result, so that it gets reversed automatically. And once all this is done, the last step is we'll say return result. So this, we forgot the return type, which is string. So this function is going to convert our integer into a string, and soon we'll see how we can actually simplify this to a great extent, but just wait. So, and there's one small mistake over here. this is a string, so length is like this. Now once this is done, we have converted the binaries, we have counted the ones, and the next step is we have to check whether or not it is even number. So if this once is an even number, it's an even number, otherwise it's not an even number. So let's have a function to encapsulate this. We'll say public boolean is even number, and then this is simply going to return a true or a false value depending on whether or not the variable ones is an even number or not. So this will give us the true false answer. Now in order to follow the question exactly, we are not supposed to display a true false answer, we are supposed to display a message. So let's have one function for displaying the message in string. So we'll just say public string, and we'll call the function, let's say status, because it is giving a status. And then here we'll just check, we'll say return, we'll first check the is even number, we'll call the is even number function. If it is true, we'll say return the message even number, otherwise we'll say return a message not a even number. So this takes care of that, and there's a small spelling mistake over here, return is even. So this is done. Now only one thing is left, and that is the display method. So let's design our display method. So we'll go towards the end and we'll say public void display, and then we'll display all the things which were asked in the question. Let's take a look again. First the binary equivalent, then the number of ones, and then the final output giving the status. So we'll go back over here and we'll have a series of system.out.printlns to get the job done. The first one of which is binary equivalent, and then we have to have a few slash t's. So let's have one slash t, and then we'll say plus, and then we'll say binary to display the binary equivalent. That is the first line. Then we'll move on to the second one. The second one was number of ones, so number of ones. Again slash t's are required. How many slash t's? Let's take a guess. Okay, number of ones. So we'll go over here, and before we display our colon, we'll say slash t colon, and this will be followed by the number of ones, which is stored in the variable called ones. This is the second line of the output. Then the third line was output. So we'll go over here, we'll say output. Again we'll have a slash t's to align the output, and then this will be followed by, we'll call the function status to display the final status. This function status will be calling the is even number method from inside. So I believe this completes our program. The optimization is still pending, we'll do it very soon. So let's try out the two example cases. The first example case was 15, the answer was even number. So let's run the program, and then we'll enter our number 15. There's a small mistake over here, there should have been one more space over here, that will correct in soon. So binary equivalent 11111, number of inputs, number of ones 4, and it's an even number, which is correct. Let's run it again for the other case, but before that we'll go down and we'll add one more extra space over here. So let's run the program again, and this time we'll enter 26. So 26, 11010, number of ones 3, and not an even number, so this is also correct. Now let's come down to the main part, and that is how we can simplify it further. And the method to do so is that this method which we had made to binary string, there is already a method by the same name inside the wrapper class integer which does the same work. That is, that will also convert to a binary string. So if I comment out this method and we go up, obviously this is saying that the method is undefined, but if I say that integer dot to binary string. Now the computer will recognize the standard Java method which is available everywhere. And please remember, this is a practical paper. The emphasis is more on solving the problem, and you can use anything which is there in the standard Java. So there is a function to binary string, and for that matter there is a 2 hex string and there's a 2 octal string also, which might be used if the need arises. Again, if I run the program again by using the inbuilt method, the output is not going to change. So 15, we get the same answer. Again we run it, we enter 26 and we get the same answer. That's all for now. Thank you. Your feedback is valuable to me. I want to make sure that my videos are clear and helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions for improvement, please don't hesitate to leave a comment or send me a message.